Hello, and welcome to No Longer a People Pleaser. If this is your first time here, my name is Tina Rose, and I have been summoned to change the trajectory of your life by coming on YouTube and making videos about my life story and how I was a people pleaser. And by me shining light on where I have been and how hard my journey was and what the things that I had to change and the places in my life where I had to step up and be bold when I wasn't used to being bold. By me sharing all of these things with you, it shines the light on places within you that need to be healed. Most likely, if you're seeing this, you resonate with this content and with this theme. So today, I made the decision. I didn't have to. I can always choose to go back to being a people pleaser, but no way, no how. I know how much better I feel now compared to how I felt back then. And so each day I make the decisions to be bold and have the faith in the things I cannot see, and that is spirit. The divine knows everything that you have had to go through, everything you've had to alchemize to get where you are now. And the divine is at your beck and call, waiting right here, closer than your skin, to help you. So ask the divine to help you be bold and say the things that you normally are afraid to say and do the things you normally are afraid to do. So back to what I had to do today. I chose to choose me, and I had to make 2 phone calls, and I had to be firm, and it is my choice to be firm and kind. Jesus talks about it is still important to be kind, and it is possible to say whatever you need to say and still be kind. You can find a kind way to say it. So I had to make 2 phone calls today. I did. I had to because this is what I choose. I choose me. And the first one was related to that water leak that I talked about almost 2 weeks ago. Still haven't gotten it fixed. So I called the office today that handles that, and I had to get firm. And I knew what they were going to say because they were going to say that, well, we've called the plumber, and I'm sure they're busy right now because of the extreme weather we've had, and they're putting other people's problems before yours because their were frozen and busted and they don't have water. And I said, I don't need any explanations about extreme weather. I understand that. I already know that. But they called and told me they were coming last Friday, and that was 5 days ago. Nobody contacted me on Friday. They didn't show up. I had to contact them and ask them what was going on, what was their plans. And so I'm calling you today because I'm already unhappy about there being a leak in my new home when I think there shouldn't be. There should have been quality assurance in place to make sure that something like that didn't happen. Anyway, I had to be firm, and being firm is being honest in a grounded way, and you're clear. But you can still be a human, you can still be clear and warm and respectful. And I feel like that's what I was. And at one point, the guy said, he said, oh, okay, let me go back. I was saying how I had been patient already. It's been almost 2 weeks. And I feel like the plumber is, I feel like it should be first come, first serve, right? They're getting paid. The plumber's getting paid, not by me, but by the office there that I'm talking to. And it should be first come, first serve instead of the plumber deciding, okay, theirs isn't as important as other ones, right? And they're making the choice to say, well, these are more important. Well, I told him I am a paying customer and you are too. You're paying them to do this job. I've waited long enough for something that shouldn't happen to begin with. I just had to get firm. And then he said he didn't, his tone wasn't sarcastic, but he said, well, everyone thinks that theirs is most important. I said, and they're exactly right. I said it just like that with a smile on my face. I said, if we don't take up for ourselves first, then we will get taken advantage of. And I feel like that's what's happening to me. How long am I going to have to wait for all these other people that have called in after me, right? I've already waited almost 2 weeks. I got to wait, 2 or 3 more weeks for all the other pipes to get fixed before mine can get fixed. It's already an inconvenience because now my daughter has to take a shower in my bathroom. I want my own personal space. I paid for this home. I want my own personal space, right? I can see that some people don't have water, but they have vehicles, they have cars. I've waited long enough. I've been patient long enough. Anyway, I did it with firmness and humor, and I feel like I was still respectful. And there was a time where there would be no way that I would even get close to calling them back and saying anything. I would continue to wait, feeling like I was being taken advantage of, and wouldn't say anything. And that just builds resentment, right? When you're honest and firm, then you don't go back to feeling that resentment because you said what you needed to say. I mean, you can't convince them always, but you need to stand firm in your boundaries, right? My needs are not an inconvenience. So, anyway, maybe I'm ranting a little bit and that's helping me get it out, but I did get it out good. I talked to the local guy where I made the purchase, and then I talked to another guy affiliated with it somehow. So I did it twice, and I feel good about it. I don't want to be unkind, so it's important to me to be able to say what I need to say and still be kind. And I feel like that's what I did. And used to, when I first started trying to get out of my comfort zone and be honest, when I wasn't used to being honest, speaking my truth, I would speak my truth, but then I would sugarcoat it. But this time, not anymore. I don't sugarcoat anymore. I say what I need to say, but it's being kind is different from sugarcoating. And when I found when I sugarcoated, I really wasn't coming across in full honesty, in my full authenticity, because sugarcoating can make it confusing what you're really your point you're trying to get across. Anyway, that's the way I see that. And I hope this content is helping somebody. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of complaining a little bit. Maybe that's the people pleaser in me, or the one that used to be in me, trying to surface that ego activities coming in. But that's how I feel. Okay, that's what I'm feeling right in this moment. But I choose to not engage with that thought. So the next thing I needed to do, or I didn't need to do it, but I chose to do it because I didn't want to be like I used to be. This was having to do with my daughter works for a nonprofit, Wake and Coffee, a coffee shop for people with developmental delays. And they were having a gala, and they helped her so much, just being able to have that job and her to have that to go to and have interactions with friends and the public and all that is really big. And so I wanted to try and give back. So my first intention, my first thought was they're having a gala and they're going to have an auction, and they want, they need everybody who can to gather donations as far as items to auction, items to sell off at their auction. And immediately I thought about someone I've worked with before, and they own a whole bunch of beach properties that they rent them out. And so I thought, wow, that would be a great, weekend getaway that they could auction off. And those go quick. People like those. And after I thought that, the next thought was, he's not going to do anything. And knowing him, he probably won't donate anything, but because he's real frugal too. But anyway, I thought to myself, two things. I don't need to make that decision for him. And the second big thing is probably should be the first thing is that there was a time when I wouldn't call, even though I wanted to help. I still wouldn't call because I would be afraid because of that old conditioning, programming of feeling not enough, not worthy enough to ask for something like that, right? And so I said, all right, for that reason and that reason only, I'm calling him. And I even decided not to email him first. I said, I'm going to be more direct. I'm going to call him and ask him, say hi, how have you been doing? Because I just worked for him in like October, just a few months ago. And so I did it. I called him and it went as I expected, but I feel good about it. I was able to ask. I wanted to feel like I am worthy enough to ask, just to put it out there. I'm not putting any pressure on anybody to donate anything. I'm just putting it out there. If you do this, then your business will be mentioned during the event. And we have it's a gala, so we have a lot of big community people going to be there. And your business will also be promoted on the, marketing material. So it's a win-win, right? But used to, it wouldn't have mattered. I'd have been too terrified, thinking I wouldn't be. That's just it. We don't think when we're that way. We're stuck in our people pleasing patterns. We're not thinking we're unworthy. We're thinking I'm too scared, right? I don't know what to say. They might get upset with me, but what we're feeling is unworthiness. So it was important for me today to just make both of those calls and do both of those things because they were things that I would not have done in the past, living in the old patterns and the distorted um, way of thinking that I lived in. So I'm feeling good about that. I did get when I talked to the other person, the first phone call, the builder was able to get the plumber on the phone and they're coming out tomorrow, so I don't have to wait another 2 or 3 weeks. That's what I have a feeling. If I hadn't said anything, if I hadn't called today, I would have continued to wait. So yeah, and that was I thought that was hilarious. It just came out. I feel like my higher self said that when the guy said, everybody thinks their problem is the most important. And I said, and they're right. And I heard him laugh. Anyway, it was good, right? I was not angry, but I was passionate about what I felt, passionate about my honesty. So I am not prepared today to do an energy healing. Maybe in a interesting little way, this is helping someone because it used to be a huge problem for me not to be able to speak up, not to do those things that are absolutely fine to do. Be bold. Make the bold decisions to free and liberate yourself from what's keeping you small, from what's keeping you stuck, from what's limiting you. It is so liberating to be able to do what you feel like you want to do, to be authentic about what you're feeling. So practice that meditation. Keep up those boundaries. And we love you. Blessed be.